Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Fitness Friday Positive Tips with Rachelle, continuing this important series on leadership no-nos. And folks, we know the fitness industries are tough, it's always changing, and so there's always a lot to stay on top of and keep up with regarding the industry. And so folks, if you happen to miss last week's episode, I strongly encourage you to go back and check it out. Just scroll down for last week's Fitness Friday and shared a lot of good tips in there. Definitely some do's and some don'ts, and certainly I want to highlight another point that I made, very important point that I made in that episode one more time because I feel so strongly about this, and that is just the disclaimer and the caveat of elevating, whether it be a member or an employee, to a level that you may later ultimately unintentionally regret. And I shared the example. I was a member of Powerhouse for 5 years, and that was great. And the founder actually on that particular location, and was a very big Fitness Friday, a very big fan of mine, just in terms of fitness and non-fitness Friday, watching all those episodes. But also had his staff to tune in to those, and so I just always want to caution you with doing something like that, because again, unless it's a spokesperson, somebody that you've hired and contracted in a role like that, or it's an ad that you're saying, hey employees, check out this latest ad we're showing on TV, everybody, check it out and see what's what, so you know what's going on. Just the negative drawback and the negative consequences that happen that you most often can't foresee when you make a decision to do something like that. Because like in my case, and it happens all the time, whether it be a golden employee that you've elevated to a level and whatever, this and that, and then all of a sudden that person leaves, and then your ego's taking a huge hit, and you're just essentially looking very bad in front of your own people, because they're looking at you like, well, this was the person you elevated, and bam, now they're leaving. And so that says something about you and your leadership and your company, your business or facility, whatever. But also it could be a golden member, like it was in my case, and then all of a sudden, bam, not only is it's challenging enough for you to watch your own self get replaced and your own facility get replaced, watching a Fitness Friday episode, now your entire staff that you've encouraged to watch, your trainers and all these other people are watching you essentially get replaced by another franchise, in my case. And as I stated before, that is not a good look. I do not want anyone else to go through something like that. That is a very tough situation, and it did not look good. And that was only because of that leadership pitfall, where essentially you're telling your people, watch this person, and then all of a sudden, bam, I left, and it was a very, very bad look on that entire situation. So I just want to caution you one last time on doing that. And perhaps I'll spend some more time just talking about leadership delegation and things like that. But you always want to be careful about the decisions that you make, potentially as they relate to other people and what they see and observe, and all of that. So enough of that. And I certainly, let me just make this quick point here, is that, I certainly treasure my time there. I appreciated those 5 years, learned a lot. He certainly taught me a lot. William Dabbers certainly taught me a lot. He and his brother co-founded that franchise here in Metro Detroit in 1975. So it was a lot of great experiences I learned from that, particularly from a leadership perspective, where, he didn't take his facilities for granted. He was very obsessed and very, very big on member feedback, solicited it a lot. But also he was not always, but very regularly in his facility, working out, observing people, watching what's going on. And so he was always making changes and improvements. And those were certainly some of the great lessons to be learned. And I know that was a very tough experience, how that all when I left and all of that. But I mean, there's certainly some things, if someone were to ask him right now, what do you think about Rachelle's membership, or what do you miss about, her being a member of Powerhouse Gym in Novi? No doubt in my mind, he would say, she inspired me and she inspired my members. And I actually shared that, a couple years ago on a Fitness Friday episode, how Lamine, who was the cleaning supervisor, actually told me, people in this gym love you. So I know it was kind of tough from that perspective, but also Fitness Friday, just the Fitness Friday, just the lessons and just the insight that I share, particularly around the competitive environment and all of that. So anyway, folks, it was a great time, and I certainly learned a lot, but I just want to caution you of making a similar decision where you can't foresee the person leaving at some point, whether it be an employee or a member, and just depending on how you've elevated that person, it could really come back to bite you, so to speak. So enough of that, folks. I want to go in an entirely different direction this time and highlight some different no-nos here. Very important no-nos. And for the purposes of this episode, I'm going to kick off with the value of not discounting the value of competitive analysis. I spent a lot of, it was like 11 or 12 episodes last summer, almost the entire summer, talking about the value of competitive analysis. And I really hope that you've integrated and implemented some of those changes into your overall operational strategy. But it is so important to understand what is going on in your market. What new competitors have entered the market? Have some left? Have some come? Is it a brand new franchise? Is it an existing franchise? Is it a YMCA? It could be any number of different iterations and options when it comes to what's going on in your competitive environment. Are companies hiring? And how is your market doing? Are companies laying off? Are people leaving? Whatever. How are new home sales? There's a whole lot of information that should go into a competitive analysis and how they relate to your market. But I want to kick this off by highlighting an article that I saw in the Detroit News. And Brianna Noble here, it was February 27th, saved it on my phone, as I always do. And so it was highlighting the fact that one of Target's Sterling Heights, and that's one of our Metro Detroit suburbs, one of Target's Sterling Heights locations is closing, according to a notice filed with the state of Michigan. The store at 35700 Van Dyke Avenue is shutting its doors June 1st in a move that is affecting 136 employees, according to a letter from Target Corp. Eligible workers have been offered transfer opportunities to other stores in the area, Target spokeswoman Jacqueline DuBose said. Those who choose not to transfer will be offered a separation package based on their years of experience with the company. Target also has a store at 2310 Metropolitan Parkway in Sterling Heights. There are 18 other stores in Metro Detroit. That store, meaning the other store in Sterling Heights, will stay open. DuBose said that typically stores are closed after several years of decreasing profitability. And listen to this quote. We have a rigorous process in place to evaluate the performance of every store on a regular basis, closing or relocating underperforming locations to maintain the overall health of our business. And so why I wanted to point that out is just when you think about, obviously the corporate, even in the fitness industry, corporate facilities, and think about the rankings for the, top clubs for Club Industry Magazine. Okay, you got number one, LA Fitness. Number two, Lifetime Fitness, both corporate chains. And you think about, why are they number one and number two in Target Corporation, Walmart's, and all of those other corporate entities that have responsibilities to shareholders. Those folks and those businesses, those corporations, even fitness facilities as well, fitness chains, have responsibilities, fiduciary responsibilities to shareholders, and it's profitability is paramount. So they are relentlessly evaluating what is working, what is not working. In that particular case, they had two locations in Sterling Heights, one of our suburbs, and they said, okay, this one's been underperforming not only just for 1 year, but for several years. And so like the quote said, they have a rigorous process. And so I wanted to highlight that example to ask you, what type of process do you have? When you evaluate your profitability, when you evaluate your expansion plans, whatever the case may be, how profitable are your existing facilities? And so I think it's so important. A lot of times there could be this whole notion, particularly for those who have aggressive growth plans of, we want to expand, we want to grow, we want to do things like that, but just take some time to evaluate where you stand currently. Just like that, they got to make the tough decision. We got to close the store. This is not a 1 year off or a 2 year off situation where profits are declining. This is actually several years of profitability. And so I just challenge you to think about why some of these corporations, or your LA Fitness, your Lifetime Fitness, why are they number one and number two again? Okay, because they are rigorously evaluating their profitability, whether it be the hours of operation and all of that. They're just, profitability is paramount. And so they don't settle for just, having, okay, we got flat growth and all of that. If you've known people, particularly those in leadership roles that have worked at those corporate fitness chains, they will tell you there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure to perform. There's a lot of pressure on those individual facilities to have strong numbers and strong growth. You're looking at, quarter over quarter growth, month over month growth. They want to see, 4 over 4 weeks, last 4 weeks, we want to see growth over the 4 over 4, continued growth throughout the year. Maintaining the status quo is not acceptable for those corporate chains. And so if you haven't experienced anything like that, it's certainly something I would challenge you to expose yourself to see what life is like for those corporate chain leaders. Very, very different situation. And also in that same vein of evaluating competitive analysis is an article I've been saving actually since April of 2018, Athletic Business. And I've highlighted Ron Bishop. He has an awesome article every month on the Owners Club, an inside look at fitness facility management. And so this article's title was An Ongoing War on Attrition. And just want to highlight something here quickly. He is managing partner at Elevations Health Club in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So founded this club. This is his club for a long time. But quickly, a number of factors conspired to send our membership and revenue numbers into steady decline throughout 2016. These include internal financial problems, along with increased competition in our marketplace from a low price chain, not to mention Zumba, personal training, and rock climbing studios. With the help of a consultant, we started doing things differently last year, changing our marketing service and pricing models rather dramatically. So this was an example. He did some competitive analysis and evaluated what was working, what's not working, what can we do in order to reframe our memberships, our value offering, and all of that. So take a look at where you are, where you stand, what can be improved upon. And that's something I know it's very tedious, takes a lot of work, takes a lot of time, but it will certainly be something that will pay tremendous dividends in terms of your business and where things stand. And yes, moving on next here, under this topic here of the value of a competitive analysis, bringing out the SWOT analysis again. I know you guys must love to see this every time I pull it out, but it is so relevant and it is so important to the success of your business. And so again, going back here, what does it stand for? This acronym S stands for strengths, W stands for weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So your strengths and weaknesses are internal in terms of your facility, your facilities, if you want a chain of them. Opportunities are external as well as threats. What opportunities exist in the market? What threats exist in the market? So it's so important that you regularly evaluate, particularly within the framework of a SWOT analysis, what is happening in your business and in your facilities or your chain of facilities to determine, what type of opportunities that are there that can be exploited for your individual franchise or fitness facility if you're private. What can be exploited in terms of growth, but also what threats exist in the market that you can certainly, neutralize or, just avoid if at all humanly possible. And I want to quickly make this point here. We talk about a SWOT analysis, and I've talked about this whole David versus Goliath, scenario we have here in Metro Detroit with Crunch Fitness coming in the fall of 2017, and they're now currently at 5 facilities, with the 4th facility being opened in Taylor, Michigan, but also the 5th facility most recently opened in Waterford. And so they are on a tremendous tear, and folks, when I think about, and I've been studying this franchise since March of 2017, so pre-launch all the way to, obviously now, and we'll continue to study this franchise, but just so impressed with what is going on. And I won't go into all of that, but they're doing a lot of things that are, I'm not seeing done in Metro Detroit in the fitness industry, regarding marketing, regarding sales, and regarding just that seamless execution of the two, but also just rigorously evaluating the competitive analysis and the competitive marketplace in terms of where the opportunities lie and all of that. But part of that is because that particular franchise has a very, very big, they put a very big emphasis on competitive analysis. Okay, so the managers of the individual clubs, they've got that responsibility to know what's going on in their market, but also the newer marketing director, that's part of that person's responsibility is to evaluate market by market, what is going on in your market. And I challenge you, for if you're hiring a marketing firm or you have a marketing person on board with you, they need to be doing something like this on a market by market basis. Also, yes, on overall market, so say if you're in Dallas, something like that, an overall market, but also a SWOT analysis for overall, but also a market by market analysis, because that way you can drill down and see exactly what opportunities exist on a very specific suburb by suburb or market by market place. But when you evaluate the SWOT analysis, particularly as you're coming in as Crunch has done here in Metro Detroit, and why there's no doubt in my mind that the franchisee is on his way to a Franchise of the Year award. There's no doubt in my mind it's going to happen. They are on a tremendous tear. And so I would argue, 2007 brought the arrival of Planet Fitness here to Metro Detroit. So that was 10 years before the arrival of Crunch Fitness. And I'm going to make a bold statement here and say that Crunch Fitness represents the strongest threat to our fitness market since Planet Fitness arrived in 2007. So Planet had a good 10-year run, but Crunch Fitness is definitely on a tear, and that's all I'm going to say on that. But when you evaluate, particularly where your competitors stand, you think about Crunch coming in and evaluating, okay, and so naturally for various reasons, Planet is essentially, their largest competitor. And so there's a lot of offensive opportunities and activities that they're engaging in to capitalize, or actually to come after some of that market share that Planet has. And so when you evaluate what's going on and what that looks like potentially for your franchise, you say, okay, so what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our major competitor strengths and weaknesses? And just to throw out one example, being the hydro massage beds. And so that's an area, that's just a very, very big thing for Planet and the Black Card membership. Very, very big, just in terms of being exclusive, having those in the Detroit market all over in their various clubs. But now you've got Crunch Fitness coming in at a very low price point, actually $9.95, so which is 5 cents lower than Planet's basic or base membership. So you got a lower membership, you've got all of those amenities, bring a person with you for free once you sign up at that second tier membership, which is $19.95 at Crunch, and it's now $21.99 at Planet Fitness. So you got a lot of the advantages, I guess is what I'm trying to say, that Planet had for many years here in our Metro Detroit market are gone. Okay, the tanning, all of that is gone. Okay, but so they certainly have a lot of strengths, such as having more than 1,700 locations nationally, and so those are things that play into what needs to go into a SWOT analysis. But the hydro massage bed, for example, okay, with the exception of here in Metro Detroit, with the exception of Brighton, Michigan. Okay, Brighton, Michigan, their time is set at 10 minutes. All right, for an individual hydro massage. All right, so in all the clubs that I've been to in Metro Detroit, it's been 7 minutes. Okay, and so from a competitive standpoint, what do you do when you come in and you have hydro massage beds, and you're essentially, from a competitive standpoint, evaluating what is your competitor has 7 minutes on these beds, we can have 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, and where Crunch has 10 minutes, but there is also the opportunity to have back-to-back, so you can have 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes on those machines, versus a 7 minute, a steady 7 minute kind of standard is what's offered. So that's an example how a competitor has come in, and as I knew was going to happen, where Adam was going to evaluate what's going on in individual clubs, has his people in various clubs evaluating what are the strengths and weaknesses, how can we position ourselves against that. But that is the kind of stuff that happens all the time. If you've ever worked for a corporate facility, if you've ever worked for a corporate entity, you just know, particularly this value on competitive analysis and growing your market and evaluating what your competitors are doing is so important. And so that's, Crunch kind of snuck up on the market, so to speak. I knew it was coming, but a lot of people didn't see it coming. And so as a result, you think about, Planet, all those advantages they had and the exclusivity of a lot of things that they offer and amenities are now gone, because Crunch is offering the same things actually at a lower price point. For those lower 2 price points, they have actually 4 price points, no commitment membership as well as contract membership. So they got 2 different pricing plans. Won't get into all of that, but that's an example where you got to know exactly what's going on market by market in your area. And just a couple of more examples here of what's going on here from a SWOT analysis standpoint, competitive analysis standpoint. 2019, we will see 2 new competitors enter the market, and I've talked about these last year. I want to highlight again Edge Fitness coming in 2019, starting off planned 12 to 15 facilities here, but starting off in Farmington Hills and Sterling Heights, coming to the market. Now this actually information came from WDIV.com, which is our Channel 4 online station. The article was Fitness Playgrounds are coming to Detroit. So that was November 19th, 2018. And so 2019 also will see the arrival of Blink Fitness. You've heard me talk about this. Tom Shoemaker lives here, local guy in Grosse Pointe, has partnered up with Draymond Green, power forward of the championship Golden State Warriors. He's actually a native of Saginaw, Michigan. And so this article appeared in Crain's Detroit, Anissa Gibberell, on November 14th. And so it basically says, think about this from a competitive standpoint. What Blink is really looking for is traffic, drivers, because people like gyms that are convenient, and we found that being next to a grocery store is really, really helpful, Schumacher told Crain's. And so they've got their locations. Okay, the first location will be happening at the Detroit Pistons headquarters, all right, in Midtown Detroit, but also the second location for Warren. And I know that the next couple of years a planned location of Crunch Fitness, but certainly won't reveal those, as I think that's so important is that particular franchisee is a professional poker player, and so I knew that was going to be an advantage of him being able to sneak up on individual markets, and so his group's motto is "We're taking over Metro Detroit," and so I'm actually going to let that be a surprise. But I also encourage other franchisees and owners in the area to be equally as quiet and sneak up on various markets in that particular regard. And so, folks, those examples highlight the value of competitive analysis, SWOT analysis, knowing what's going on in your market. Second, don't discount, please don't discount the value of a clean and well-maintained facility. I mean, that kind of seems like it goes without saying, but folks, it doesn't matter what type of gyms or what type of facilities we're talking about. Okay, why do facilities continue to struggle with cleanliness and maintaining well-maintained facilities is beyond me, but it happens on a day-to-day basis. And speaking of Planet, why on their marketing materials and all of that, and their TV ads are always highlighting clean environment, clean environment. You always hear me talking about these on my Rachelle's PF for Planet Fitness Adventures, talking about, how so-and-so was cleaning and how this person was cleaning and how this team was cleaning at this particular club. Why? Because that is a brand promise. All right, and so they're very big on that, and that is something that, again, from a market research standpoint, they realize what a competitive advantage a clean facility can be. And so cleanliness is so important. And so, folks, I want to highlight this example here from Athletic Business. This was May of last year. And so, folks, I hang on to these things for a long time because I know that there's going to be an episode to come that I can utilize some of these. And so this article here was entitled Life and Death, Warding Off Superbugs in Your Facility. So I'm just going to do a little reading here, and I'm going to close out this particular aspect here, this no-no of not having a clean and well-maintained facility. So it says, Andy Berg's article, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that each year drug-resistant bacteria such as MRSA infect more than 2 million people nationwide, killing at least 23,000. Translation, keeping your facility, whether a gymnasium, fitness club, or rec center, clean and free of germs is no longer a nicety, but a potential matter of life and death. The CDC separates infection control into 3 distinct processes: sterilization, disinfection, and cleaning. Athletics facilities won't need to meet sterilization standards, which involves elimination of all microbial life and usually entails methods reserved for healthcare and food manufacturing facilities. However, it is imperative that operators of all types of athletics and fitness facilities use every tool at their disposal to ensure the cleanliness of their gymnasiums, workout areas, and locker rooms. Here are a few tips and effective tools to aid in keeping your facility clean and your participants and employees healthy. All right, just want to highlight these 2 quick points here. Typical free weights at the average gym have about 362 times more bacteria than a toilet seat. Let that sink in. All right, here, 90% of respondents to an IHRSA survey said they were more likely to renew their membership if their club was clean. All right, so just wanted to make those points. Please, please, on behalf of your members, prospective members, former members, keep your facilities clean and well maintained, right? And there's enough said on that, folks. But lastly, I wanted to highlight here before I close out this episode, the cardinal sin of gym no-nos. And so we're going to have a final episode here on gym leadership no-nos next time with a few more. But I cannot close this episode out by highlighting, please, one final time, please don't discount the fact that prospective members and current members have options. All right? Unless you are the only one in town and you may be walking around thinking, well, I have a lock on this market. People don't have anywhere else they can go to work out. Okay? They can buy a Peloton bike. They can get DVDs. There's so many apps now that you can work out. There's online workout type of modalities now where you can work out with other people online where you're all in the same class. So please, just recognize that people have options. And that's why these SWOT analyses are so important to recognize, particularly when threats come to your market, like a Crunch Fitness here. In Metro Detroit. Whatever your market may be, you may have other competitors that come in. And then all of a sudden, like in the case of Planet, a lot of your amenities that you have, a lot of those competitive advantages that you have are gone overnight by the arrival of one franchise. And so you've got to recognize that people have options. You got to bring it. You know, whenever you're opening up, whenever you're conceptualizing, even if it's a private facility, bring it, bring it, bring it. All right, go on offense. The best defense is often said. The best defense is a good offense. The best defense is a good offense. So recognize that members have options. They can go, a brand new facility may open up down the street. And particularly to those that are sales oriented, like a LA Fitness or a Lifetime Fitness with sales quotas. And so if you're in a situation where you're not a sales oriented facility and all of a sudden they move down the street from you or enter your market, it's going to be a tough ride because you've got people with their jobs on the line in order to, you know, continue their own career and keep money coming in their respective pockets and bank accounts. They've got to keep the numbers coming. Same thing with Crunch. Yes, they're a compliance-driven organization, but also the compliance piece is important in terms of them having, you know, a script and all of that. That there's a tour script that they're utilizing, but also it's a sales-driven organization. All right, the number one criteria. You talk about getting a job at Crunch here, the front desk. The number one responsibility is membership sales. And so you got to think, if you're competitive of Crunch here in our Metro Detroit market, hey, you got to recognize you're coming up, and they are strong. They are bringing it from a sales standpoint. But so people have options. A lot of times people don't recognize that until a major competitor opens up in the market or down the street or something like that. Or you have a boatload of members that all of a sudden leave and going to that particular facility. This happens day in and day out, market by market. Happens all the time, not just in the fitness industry. All right, because guess what? Target and some of our big box retailers, Walmart, Sam's Clubs, they're struggling in many cases, closing different locations. Why? Because of Amazon. All right, Amazon, you got eBay, but particularly Amazon. When you got grocery market that has suffered also because of Amazon. I mean, there's just so many different competitive threats that exist in the marketplace in general. So it's so important. It's imperative that you just have this humble mindset to say, my people have options. Even if you feel like you're the only one in town, you got to recognize members can do other things. They don't have to come to your facility. They can go outside and walk or run for free. All right. So it's so important that when you have that type of mindset, recognizing that people have options, that should impede certainly, you know, folks from taking your people, whether it be employees or members, because you'll treat people well. You'll keep your facilities clean and well maintained. All right. There's just so many different things. You won't take people for granted. That's probably the biggest thing that I can say. When you recognize that people have options, you won't take them for granted. And this certainly applies, yes, in a fitness facility standpoint. But let me step on a few toes here. From a relational standpoint, recognizing that your significant other has options should drive and certainly make you recognize that person could potentially be with someone else or has options. All right, when you feel that you have somebody on lockdown, what usually happens? Person gets taken for granted and whatever, you don't appreciate him or her anymore, and then that old saying of, you know, familiarity breeds contempt, and then all of a sudden, bam, you know, when that person has left you, you know, you're sitting there thinking like, man, you know, you're scrambling on defense instead of just going on offense, treating people right, treating people well, recognizing that, hey, I got a special person here, I don't want to lose him or her, so I'm going to treat this person right, do right by him or her. Same thing in your facility, because it doesn't need, you know, 300 members don't need to leave your facility when a new one opens down the street for you to it shouldn't have to happen for you to open your eyes and say, man, you know, we really kind of failed these people. We didn't take care of our business. We didn't handle maintenance right. Our facility wasn't as clean as it should be. You got to recognize you have options. Doesn't matter what it is. You could be at a facility where locker room theft is rampant. And you just feel, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I've been at this gym a long time. I don't want to leave. But, you know, my stuff got stolen, or I'm afraid my stuff's going to get stolen. There are options. All right. And I don't have time to go into a Rachelle's PF adventure here. And those will certainly come after this leadership series. Bring those back. But I was recently at Troy. All right. The Troy, Michigan location of Planet Fitness. I highlighted them before, particularly around this regard. I was there on February 7th. And I knew it when I observed it the first time. I said, those folks are, and actually shared some feedback with that particular club or for that particular club, you know, and highlighted this particular point. All right, the Troy, Michigan fitness market has struggles with locker room theft, and there's just some challenges. They've been well publicized, media and all of that. But those folks at that plant on that morning shift, that 6 a.m. shift, they come in there, folks, they are relentless when it comes to monitoring the bathroom. I mean, going through shower stalls, going through the changing stalls, making sure everything's clean and all right. But I'm thinking just even from a theft standpoint, a potential theft standpoint, just how strong that was and what a best practice that was. I've never seen that in 25 years of fitness, to see a team like that is relentless in those bathrooms. And I thought to myself, potential thieves don't have a hope. They come into this facility, they just can give it up, don't even go, because these folks are on it. These folks are on it when it comes to that. And so I actually recommended a friend of mine who lives close to that area, check out that gym. They do a great job when it comes to that. Your stuff will be safe. So that's an example. Recognizing somebody may be in Troy and had their stuff stolen, whatever. Okay, there's other gyms that you can go to. So don't feel like you're stuck. You're never stuck, folks. Don't have this mindset of just settling for mediocrity. All right, there's options. Be willing to change. Be willing to learn and grow. And yes, perhaps be wrong if you leave and go somewhere and it doesn't work out and whatever. But just deal with that when it comes. But don't let fear keep you stuck in a bad situation. You have options. And the last point I want to make here before I close out this episode, when it comes to options, you've heard me talk several episodes about my love for the hydro massage bed. You know, I discovered that bed and when I first joined Planet Fitness in Novi, and then I upgraded from the basic membership to the Black Card membership. Actually, the reason why I did it was for the hydro massage. Struggled for several years with lower back pain, and I just love that hydro massage because it really helped me maintain my symptoms, folks. But I have great news, and it was 2.5 months in the making. You know, I dealt with 2 sports medicine physicians, a sports medicine podiatrist, as well as a chiropractor, folks. And my back pain is gone. Gone. Years of pain, gone. I tried different things. I'd been to one particular chiropractor, that didn't work, but so I mixed things up, made some changes, tried it again, you know, went after it again. So from December to February, and my situation is resolved. And so the hydro massage to me, I don't, you know, you see me now and I stroll out of the gym, there's no hydro massage. From time to time, I may, you know, use it, but that has gone for me from a need, an absolute need, to actually a gym perk now. It's a perk, not a need. And so I challenge you to think, I struggled with that for years, low back pain. Some of you have struggled, it's a gym goer, just want to talk here for a second. Some of you have struggled with weight loss, and you struggled with your gym, you struggle with your personal trainer, you struggle with your group fitness class. Folks, make changes that are necessary. Okay, recognize that you have options. Okay, my exploring other options, my back is 1,000 times better now. I mean, it is great. I can't emphasize this enough. All right, folks, but there's always something that's going on in my mind to say, Rachelle, you have options. I don't care what it is. I don't care what the scenario is. All right, so and I want you to have that same kind of confidence to say, hey, I don't have to be stuck with this. Okay, change is possible. A better situation is possible. A better facility is possible. A better trainer is possible. A better group fitness instructor is possible. But it's going to take action on your part. And so, folks, that's all I have for you with this particular episode. Next time, I'm actually going to close out this series here on gym leadership no-nos. But just remember, yes, leadership is hard. It's not easy. It takes a lot out of you. I know that. But just determine to be the best that you're going to be. And I assure you, 2019 has the potential to be your best year yet. So, folks, I thank you so much for your time. And remember, I am positively passionate about your fitness.